when it comes to women especially,
Nasty.
people tend to comment on their bodies, their appearance, their clothing, and I just think, guys, come on.
Cop Dengar Dulu. Selamat kembali kepada new episode yang bertajuk Tekanan Remaja. Saya Amira, your host for today. Hari ini bersama saya tetamu undangan yang bernama Sofia dan Luqman. Maybe boleh perkenalkan diri, introduce yourself.
Hi everyone, my name is Sofia and I'm one of the interns at Terkubur. I'm also a law student at University Malaya and an advocate for mental health.
Hi everyone, my name is Luqman. I am an alumni of Terkubur Cohort 2 and currently I am the Secretary General for Agenda.
Okay, hari ini tajuk kita berkenaan tekanan remaja, and of course lah bila cakap pasal tekanan remaja, kita akan libatkan berkenaan isu, of course isu paling penting untuk kita acknowledge adalah kesedaran mental health. Isu cyberbully yang kian meningkat pada masa kini, and also maybe disebabkan tekanan, bila kita cakap pasal tekanan remaja, of course kita cakap berkenaan ada masalah pendidikan. Untuk Sofia dengan Luqman, I really interested if let's say you can share your experience first berkenaan your journey in terms of advocate about mental health semua. Boleh tak share sedikit? I mean maybe kita boleh start with Sofia.
Thank you, Amira. So previously in my pre-U year, I was a part of the Youth Leadership Academy that was by McKinsey and Company and Teach from Malaysia. It was a joint collaboration. So we were tasked with creating our own social entrepreneurship project with 4 other students, and I was given the theme of health and mental well-being, and we as a group decided to focus on mental health as a whole. So I've worked with a few mental health organizations. I've worked with Humankind, Miasa, and some others. And I've also met a lot of really influential student advocates for mental health that have left such a huge impact on myself and so many of my friends. So that's, and also because I've had my own journey as a student. Of course, my mental health is also very important. So that's why I'm an advocate.
Interesting. Luqman?
So during my experience as one of the participants masa tu Terkubur Cohort 2, so we were assigned to be in a group, and each group have their own, we call it, it's a special project. So my group chose to advocate for mental health, and one of the thing yang kita orang buat masa tu is that we pass a memorandum to YB Said and also YB yang berkaitan lah daripada Kementerian Pendidikan, Kementerian Pendidikan Tinggi, Kementerian Kesihatan dan sebagainya. Tapi basically the essence of ataupun tuntutan dalam memorandum tu, kita advocate untuk supaya ahli parlimen untuk bercakap lebih banyak tentang mental health, and also kita advocate juga supaya kita perbanyakkan lagi akses untuk pemeriksaan kesihatan yang berkaitan dengan mental health ni dekat Malaysia ni sendiri. And also of course about the literacy itself, yang mana kita perlukan lebih banyak kesedaran tentang kesihatan mental tu juga.
When you cakap pasal literacy mental health kan, Sofia ataupun Luqman, I really interested sebab bila kita cakap pasal mental health, ada certain orang rasa topik ni a bit kuno ataupun tabu, saya cakap lah. Lagi kita bercakap dengan orang-orang tua untuk fahamkan masalah mental health. I think bila kita terlibat dalam isu advokasi mental health, I really want to know especially for Sofia lah, sebab bila kita dengar experience Sofia, dia banyak involved with mental health issue. Can I know if let's say you boleh berkongsi lah kan, apa yang menyebabkan you involved with mental health punya advokasi?
I think it started as a student. So when I was in high school, I was going through my SPM just fine until I learned some news about my status and myself that ended up impacting my mental health quite heavily. And because of that, my grades during my SPM fell pretty badly. But despite that, I persevered and I went through my pre-U and I set a goal for myself to enter University Malaya as a law student. And a couple things happened along the way that impacted my mental health pretty badly. But I think it all started as a student and having that academic pressure on you, especially from someone like me who grew up with siblings. My younger brother, he's autistic. So growing up, I was always told that I have to be the one to succeed academically to be able to help him. So that's where it started for me. Not sure if it's the same for you, Luqman.
Luqman, how about you?
Well, me personally, orang selalu cakap kan, kalau macam bila kita bercakap tentang mental health ni, the important of it is that you tak boleh macam simply cakap, oh I ada depression, I ada macam anxiety dan sebagainya. The importance of it is you to be really get like diagnosed by the orang yang lebih pakar kan. Tapi on me myself, do I ada face some sort of maybe like emotional breakdown ke, ataupun I rasa macam I dah tak ada motivation ke apa? Ada. Especially I think during the PKP punya time, mana kita macam banyak kena duduk kat rumah, and masa tu banyak kelas online dan sebagainya, and we don't really know the apa orang kata what's going to be happen in the future kan. And bila kita duduk kat rumah ni, kita macam tak bercampur dengan orang, so the exposure towards the public tu kurang, and somehow I think benda tu yang mengakibatkan somehow masa-masa macam tu I tend to have like emotional breakdown. And for me myself, kenapa masa Terkubur Cohort 2 tu I choose to advocate or to speak out about mental health, I think sebab masa tu is that people are still rasa yang isu mental health ni is just isu yang biasa, ataupun macam yang Amira cakap, is a taboo punya issues kan. Tapi if we really think about it, mental health ni is something yang scientifically proven.
Betul.
Bukan macam kosong like tak ada facts or data dan sebagainya. Benda tu it is being proved. So something that is being proved and something yang macam growing dalam our community, not just for the youth. I think orang-orang dewasa pun ada yang diagnosed with anxiety, with depression. So we really have to speak out about it so that we can do something about it.
Menarik. I think before kita jump to macam kenapa, apa punca semua ni, I really want to share macam a little bit my experience when it comes to issue mental health ni. Bila tadi Lokman cakap, if let's say kita nak tahu kita betul-betul masalah depression or mental health ni, kita kena jumpa orang yang pakar. But I think to jumpa pakar-pakar ataupun klinik itself, as someone yang pernah macam mental health survivor, I think it's hard for me to reach out. Satu sebab dari segi appointment, and there's a lot of procedure. I think benda tu salah satu yang we need to reform in mental health institution, especially kat hospital-hospital. I think MIASA, I think salah satu organisation yang good in advocate mental health. But I think macam government also need to involve untuk isu mental health. Satu sebab isu mental health ni dia arise tau, and benda tu lead to isu bunuh diri yang semakin meningkat juga. I know it sounds sensitive, but this is harsh reality yang berlaku kat zaman sekarang. And berbalik kepada Sofia, you mentioned that tekanan remaja, salah satunya yang you rasa adalah dari segi academic pressure. Do you think selain pada academic pressure, financial pressure semua ataupun benda lain pun boleh terlibat juga? What do you think?
I think that's a huge factor. Financial, emotional. I think the point you were trying to make earlier was to make mental health services more accessible, which
Yes.
I completely agree. Not just a matter of financial means as well, but also the effort it takes to go to a therapy appointment or to get yourself diagnosed. For people who are going through mental breakdowns, they've usually neglected themselves, right? Tak mandi, tak beres gigi, or anything like that. They've stopped taking care of themselves. They've stopped showering, all of that. And to go to a therapy session,
It's expensive me.
they
100.
they feel shame, rasa malu, they feel ashamed, they don't want to leave. So they end up not doing it at all, which is something that we should change. We should be more accepting of people's situations and be proud that they've decided to step out and help themselves in some way.
Tadi you cakap pasal your academic pressure kan. Apa sebenarnya you nak capai in your academic things actually sampai you rasa pressure tu?
Good question. When I was in high school, I wanted to be a zoologist, but I got a C in biology, so my dreams were crushed.
Tak apa, it's normal.
And after I got my SPM results, I actually didn't want to take law when I did my SPM. But after my SPM results, I took a look at it and I decided, you know what? Maybe law is the place for me. And I went into my pre-U thinking, if I'm going to take law, I want to take it where I can make the most change, which to me was University of Malaya. So during my pre-U year, I took foundation in law. I was extremely harsh on myself. I joined as many competitions as I could. I spent most of my days at workshops, seminars. I spent a lot of time studying. I didn't have that many friends in pre-U. I didn't have much of a social life, many hobbies, and the whole time it was fully fueled on this idea of wanting to get into UM. It was so bad that if I didn't get into UM, I would have just dropped law, which is something I would have done. Yeah, that's where the academic pressure stemmed from.
Faham. Kalau Luqman, adakah academic pressure actually impact your life juga? Sebab tadi kita dengar you cakap waktu PKP kan. After PKP till now, are you okay?
Wow, the question. I'm okay, tapi I think it's normal lah. For me, emotional breakdown or this kinds of mental health problem ni, it is something yang dia punya episode. Kadang-kadang kita okay, kadang-kadang kita tak okay. Tapi for me myself is that whenever I've experienced kadang-kadang memang ada satu fasa dalam hidup I tu yang macam memang I macam tak kisah pasal diri I macam yang Sofia cakap, maybe tak mandi, not even taking care of myself. Tapi I think yang I bersyukur is that I manage untuk ada kesedaran sendiri. Maksudnya bila dah dalam satu tempoh yang lama macam tu I rasa macam this is not right, this is not me basically. So daripada situ I try untuk macam cuba untuk ubah, tapi not like drastically, tapi like taking small steps day by day. Buat satu perubahan kecil setiap hari daripada hari ke hari, sampailah macam I regain balik diri I sendiri. Tapi I think bukan semua orang macam tu.
Betul.
Like, bukan semua orang ada kekuatan untuk betul-betul angkat diri sendiri balik. Some people memang orang memerlukan orang lain. Betul. Untuk angkat diri orang sendiri. So if we want to talk about this macam on a bigger perspective kan, I think satu is that I think satu benda yang kita terlepas pandang is that kalau pasal isu mental health ni, isu tu sendiri ataupun masalah tu sendiri perlu diselesaikan daripada peringkat rumah. For me, peranan sebagai ibu bapa, kalau kadang-kadang I think ibu bapa ni dia ada naluri. Dia boleh perasan kalau macam anak dia macam dah lain dan sebagainya. So bukan sahaja orang yang ada masalah mental health perlu diberikan literasi, tapi our guardians, penjaga kita pun perlu tahu apa simptom-simptom dan sebagainya. So that kalau bila diorang nampak macam tu, diorang boleh take a step untuk bawa juga anak-anak diorang ni untuk jomlah kita cuba untuk pergi jumpa ni ke, pergi jumpa tu ke. Sebab dia benda tu adalah untuk kebaikan anak dia sendiri.
It is interesting sebab dia cakap mak bapak kena terlibat dalam isu mental health. Orang kata penambah baik mental health punya isu ni. Tapi macam mana kita nak bagi tahu dekat ibu bapa yang kita rasa susah nak terima isu ataupun stigma mental health ni? Macam mana you nak macam mana to make it dia more kata openly untuk kita berbual pasal isu-isu macam ni dengan ibu bapa? Sebab kita rasa ibu bapa, yes, kita pun setuju ibu bapa mainkan peranan penting, tapi somehow what if ibu bapa tu sendiri susah nak terima masalah mental issue, especially with our culture. Kenapa you tak solat?
Faham.
Sebab kita isu mental health ni orang selalu kaitkan agama.
Ya,
you solat ke tak? You ke tak?
Betul.
How you want to macam bagi pencerahan pasal benda tu?
For me lah,
in your opinion lah.
In my opinion I think that this is the step where all the NGO ataupun gerakan-gerakan, sebab betul lah kita kena faham yang macam orang nampak mental health punya problem ni is associated with Gen Z. Gen Z je yang macam ni. Gen Z yang dulu zaman aku dulu tak macam ni, zaman aku dulu tak macam ni. So I think peranan bukan saja NGO lah, ataupun peranan kerajaan sendiri kan, Kementerian Kesihatan ke apa ke, the campaign ataupun the process of advocacy about this mental health perlu untuk betul-betul tunjukkan yang macam masalah mental health ni bukan masalah yang eksklusif untuk Gen Z sahaja. Maksudnya orang-orang yang lebih tua, orang-orang yang lebih berusia pun ada je yang facing the same problem. So that bila macam tu, the parents pun akan nampak macam problem yang anak aku sedang hadapi sekarang ni is just bukan satu problem yang dia macam wujud-wujudkan dengan sengaja. Tapi problem ni is a universal punya problem. Yang mana setiap lapisan umur pun, tak kira lah you tua ke, you muda ke, you lahir zaman ni ke, you lahir zaman tu ke, you ada potential untuk face this kind of mental health problem.
Interesting. Kita maybe sebelum kita bergerak kepada macam beberapa isu yang berkaitan dengan mental health, I think when it comes to academic pressure, most of my friend dia rasa pressure to achieve an excel in everything, it is because after university tu, most of them yang macam, okay lah, kita daripada keluarga-keluarga B40 yang ambil PTN untuk masuk ke universiti, most of them, diorang literally macam, you know, like macam tak hidup nak for flat. Sebab kenapa diorang nak bebas hutang? I think benda tu sounds good, but at the same time juga, kita akan terdengar isu-isu di mana, pembuluh darah pecah sebab too much bekerja semua. I think benda tu pun salah satu benda yang kita kena take note lah untuk our mental health issues. And along with that, Sophia, I really want to know your perspective as kita pun Gen Z, you pun Gen Z, tak ada beza pun. Kita semua Gen Z. If let's say you diberi peluang untuk reform the mental health institution yang spesifik, kalau macam healthcare, specific for mental health, what do you want to do?
Wow.
So, benda ni nak tak nak kita akan ada solusi untuk pihak kerajaan untuk take note tau bila berkenaan reform ni. So, your punya bayangan, tak apa, your opinion. Macam mana you nak push reformation for mental health institution?
Let's look at what's available for. Are you talking about students specifically?
Semua orang. Sebab
Everyone.
I think tak kisah. I think sampai ke orang tua end up akan ada mental health issues lah.
Well, I think we should look at how we can get those services first and start from there. So as students, we have our respective universities. They do provide counseling services for their university students. As children, your parents can bring you to any government hospital, take you for child counseling. And as adults, according to your financial status, you can go for private therapy sessions, you can go for government therapy sessions. So we can start there. What is the problem there? How can we reform from that? I would say, first of all, increase the quality of our counseling services, starting from university stage, ending all the way to our adult, ending all the way to our psychologists at hospitals. I think the quality is fine, but as someone who has gone through university counseling, I think
Not the best solution, right?
they're not equipped.
I makin depressed.
I've gone through high school counselors and I've gone through university counselors, and they're great when it comes to alleviating academic pressure. They will give you study tips, but they cannot give you much else. And I can't fault them. I don't think that they were trained enough to deal with someone who deals with really bad anxiety or depression or ADHD or autism, anything like that. They're not equipped for that. So I think we should start there. But the question is how? We would need more funding. We would need more specialized doctors. We would need more generalized counselors. We'd have to start there, and we'd have to advertise these services. Do you know that your university provides counseling services?
I know, but
How did you find that out? Were you going through a mental breakdown in Google?
I think waktu tu I know counselling tujuan dia untuk counselling kita. So I just like macam crash out, macam lari ke diorang and diorang bagi tahu lah. Tapi tu lah not too much lah. Then end up I Google pergi keluar jugalah untuk cari terapi and appointment dekat hospital untuk bagai psychiatrist.
I think universities tend to not talk about their mental health services because they're afraid that I've gone through 2 universities. One spoke about their mental health services quite openly and the other did not. And I think the impression that they got when they talk about their mental health services openly is, we will expect your child or we will expect the student to go through this at some point, which makes the university look negative. Because why have so many of your students been going through mental health crisis so often that you feel the need to tell us beforehand? You understand?
But yes.
Yeah, so I think they think that there's a negative connotation to that, but really I think it's a positive. You know? We should start telling our students.
I think lagi satu, in my university level, when I want to book an appointment with them, always fully booked. Sampai kan I rasa I need tunggu dalam masa sebulan just for to get an appointment just for counselling. I'm not sure kenapa, tapi maybe kekurangan manpower pun memainkan isu jugalah. I think when it comes to issue mental health, isu paling dekat dengan isu mental health adalah isu bully. And of course isu yang orang kena tahu untuk masa sekarang adalah isu justice for Zara. I think benda tu terlampau relate sebab we kena bully. And if let's say kita dengar rumour sana sini, one of it adalah diorang push Zara sampai Zara depressed, stress, sampai dia almost mengadu kat mak dia kan. Tapi when it comes to isu bully, dia bukan isu Zara je. Isu-isu sebelum ni, macam isu Zulfarhan pun antara yang like sensitif ataupun hot juga dibicarakan. And I think when it comes to isu bully and mental health, isu paling famous sebelum ni adalah isu satu influencer nama dia Isha. Yang dia dibully secara cyber dekat TikTok atau dekat social media. End up that influencer meninggal akibat bunuh diri. And I think benda tu menunjukkan betapa lemahnya kita punya law enforcement when it comes to cyberbully. So, how about you, Lokman? When it comes to like cyberbully punya enforcement yang sebenarnya tak tahu lah kenapa kerajaan lambat sangat nak implement benda ni.
Faham? Okay, when we talk about cyberbullying kan, first of all, kita kena admit yang the thing exists lah. Faham tak? Sebab social media ni macam semua orang boleh access. And everyone can do anything about it. We can talk about anything dekat social media. And especially bullying lah. And sometimes even kadang-kadang when someone yang trying to advocate for a change pun, diorang pun berpotensi untuk dibully.
Betul.
Contoh someone yang advocate untuk more peluang untuk kata supaya intern dapat dibayar gaji dan sebagainya. Ya, Rashifah kan. She faces juga cyberbullying. So kadang-kadang dekat Malaysia ni, even if we are doing something good, people see it as something bad and they tend to end up bullying the person. Faham tak? Itu salah satu masalah yang berakar dalam kita punya society. It's just that kita tak boleh untuk tengok benda yang bertentangan dengan apa kita percaya, and we resort to bullying. Faham tak? So for me, first of all, kalau lah kata macam kita tak suka dengan apa yang orang tu buat, kita diam je lah. Faham tak? Janganlah commit to something yang only will end up being
harm.
bawa harm kepada orang lain. And also, kalau kita talk about law enforcement, actually recently kita dah memang ada amendments dalam penal code, which
really?
Kita ada amendments dalam penal code yang mana kita dah start untuk I tak ingat section berapa lah, tapi memang sekarang ni cyberbullying is also considered as a crime. Sebab tu baru-baru ni yang mana dalam kes Zara Karina ni, dia punya pakar, I think dia pakar patologi kot, yang mana bila dia buat statement dalam mahkamah corona, statement tu tak align dengan naratif yang netizen nak. So ada netizen yang end up macam cyberbullying her, and dia dah buat report polis pun towards the netizen yang buat macam tu. So to say that macam mungkin sekarang ni adalah faktor dia adalah amendments tu baru lagi, it's still fresh. We still tak nampak lagi dia kesan daripada the implementation. But I think this one kita kena give a good credit towards the government lah. Sebab finally kita ada satu section di bawah penal code yang mana cyberbullying pun is still considered as a crime. Tapi still at the end of the day, benda tu disebabkan masyarakat sendiri juga, yang mana bila mana sesuatu benda tu tak sesuai dengan naratif ataupun tak sesuai dengan kepercayaan dia, people akan end up untuk resort to cyberbullying instead of just be macam okay tak apalah, aku tak setuju, so just aku diam je, aku tak buat apa-apa. So I think masalah tu kita tak tahu berpunca daripada mana, kenapa orang ada that kind of tendency untuk cyberbullying people. I think itu yang kita kena cari the answer, and kita kena try untuk figure out the solution. Bukan, okay, kita dah decide daripada law punya enforcement, tapi untuk really selesaikan isu ni daripada akar tu, belum lagi kita kena try untuk figure out the solution lah.
I think bila you cakap macam mana nak cari akar isu pasal isu bully ni kan, I baru teringat that Malaysia ranking top 5 ke number 1?
I think we're number 1. I think we're number 1.
I don't know, I'm not sure I need to proud ke tak. Dia proud bila diorang like cyberbully isu Israel. I'm really proud. Tapi when it comes to certain issue, contohnya macam kita ambil contoh Rashifah, dia fight for intern bukan buruh percuma. Kalau you all tengok the comment section, very irony tau, sebab that person fight for your rights, but you fight balik dengan body shaming semua.
Same as Ain Husniza.
Yes.
She is such a good advocate. She wants...
They just want to fight. I know Selisa just want to fight for women's rights, especially
and making school a safer place, which is, how can you disagree with that?
Yes, they just want to cut off the pedophile yang ada dekat sekolah, especially from cikgu yang sepatutnya jadi pendidik. But end up dia kena cyberbully. I think 2 tahun dia cerita pengalaman yang dia 2 tahun need to take a break in advocacy punya bidang. And right now dia come back stronger lah. And I really proud bila tengok dia actually. But pelik kan?
I think criticism is important for any advocate, anyone who wants to go into politics, anything like that. But sometimes the comments that I see on these advocates' pages it has nothing to do with what they are saying. It only, when it comes to women especially,
Nasty.
people tend to comment on their bodies, their appearance, their clothing, and I just think, guys, come on.
Yeah, I'm not sure why you want to macam bagi tahu macam tu, but I think dia sangat-sangatlah menyedihkan tau sebab benda baik. And when it comes to isu bully juga, Lokman, boleh tak kita nak tahu sedikit? I think bila tadi awal kita cakap pasal isu mental health and bully, benda paling dekat waktu tu kita cakap adalah isu Isya, yang isu tu yang orang bully, cyberbully tu hanya perlu bayar RM100 je. What your comment about that? Bila mahkamah cuma perintahkan dia hanya bayar RM100.
Faham? Oh, so maksudnya dia after the case itself dia hanya perlu bayar RM100 as a pampasan lah. Okay. To really comment about the mahkamah punya keputusan tu is a bit hard lah. Sebab I don't really know all the facts of the case dan sebagainya. Tapi I do think that orang yang cyberbully ni, we have to really like macam, satu is perlu ada apa orang kata hukuman yang setimpal lah dengan apa yang dia buatkan. Sebab kadang-kadang even cyberbullying ni boleh result to orang tu sendiri meninggal dan sebagainya. So benda tu daripada the issue itself pun dah nampak cyberbullying ni is a bad thing. So I think bila apa kata mahkamah hanya memberikan denda sebagai RM100 tu, itu satu adalah tak apalah, kita hormat putusan mahkamah. Tapi kita fikir towards a long run, adakah untuk semua isu cyberbullying hukuman yang sama akan diberikan? Faham tak? So I think it is important bila mana ada isu-isu cyberbullying ni dan mana isu-isu ni dibawa ke mahkamah, bagi saya mahkamah perlu untuk betul-betul mendengar kes itu dengan betul, hujahan daripada pihak pendakwa raya, hujahan daripada pihak pengguam bela dan sebagainya, to really justify apa orang kata keberatan ataupun kesan daripada cyberbullying terhadap mangsa itu sendiri. And at the end of the day barulah kita boleh untuk decide hukuman kepada orang yang did the cyberbullying itself. And also, of course, I think it is also important to note that every single pesalah ni dia wajar untuk diberikan peluang kedua. So I think dalam the sistem perundangan itu sendiri perlu ada satu perkara yang boleh untuk menghukum, tapi at the same time perlu juga ada satu perkara yang boleh untuk memberikan kesedaran kepada orang-orang yang commit cyberbullying ni. Sebab kadang-kadang orang selalu cakap juga, orang yang membuli ni adalah orang yang used to being bullied by other person.
Yes, interesting. I think when it comes to cyberbully juga, I teringat isu-isu dekat artis K-pop especially. I really mengikuti isu-isu K-pop, tapi I teringat dulu satu isu yang artis K-pop nama dia Sully from Group FX. I think bila dia dah commit suicide, bila dah meninggal dunia tu akibat bunuh diri, you know what? Apa yang ironi dia? Adalah orang-orang yang come forward, dia kata dia menyesal bully the artist adalah sebab dia rasa stres. Dan dia nak bully the artist tu sebab it reflects themselves. I think isu cyberbullying sebenarnya relate, dia dekat sangat dengan isu mental health. Yang I think macam ni orang kata, makin lama kita menuju kemajuan, makin lama kita tinggalkan benda-benda yang kecil lah seperti isu mental health. I think for the next question, I really want to know your judgement ataupun your viewpoint about bila kita bercakap pasal perubahan dari segi isu mental health ataupun cyberbully ataupun isu bully sekalipun, apa yang kau rasa penting untuk government take note, especially for youth, sebab negara kita ni makin mengembang. So isu ni sangat-sangat relate with the younger generation. And apa your punya viewpoint untuk make sure perubahan ni betul-betul berlaku secepat mungkin? Sebab kalau kita nak tunggu lama lagi, makin ramai orang ada keinginan untuk bunuh diri. So what's your point? Sofia lah dulu.
I think what you said earlier gave me a new perspective. It reminded me of the saying, hurt people, which means orang yang sakit akan sakiti orang lain. So I think that's the approach that the government should take. When someone is bullied, they're usually bullied by their peers, right?
Yes.
it's usually by their peers if they're not a public figure. So I think we should look at why the majority feels the need to degrade that one person. You know, what is it about them in their lives that they're unsatisfied with that makes them think that it's okay for them to degrade and bully somebody else? So that would be the approach that I would want the government to take. But it would be quite difficult. I mean, what could possibly be a factor in someone's life that could make them become a bully? What do you think?
I think kalau nak cakap pasal faktor lah, I would like to macam nak bagi satu point about, okay, kalau kita ambil contoh macam sekolah asrama ataupun camp tentera dan sebagainya, who memang orang kata bully tu dah dijadikan sebagai satu tradisi. Tapi at the end of the day, we have to remember that tradisi ni sometimes kalau kita terlampau setia kepada tradisi, kesetiaan tu akan jadi kesetiaan yang macam terlampau
toxic.
Ya, toxic and tradisi kesetiaan yang buta tuli, faham tak? So bila dekat sekolah asrama ke apa ataupun dekat camp tentera dan sebagainya, orang akan claim macam, oh, kita ragging, kita bully ni is sebab untuk you sendiri. Tapi
untuk kekuatan mental.
ya, untuk kekuatan mental dan sebagainya. Tapi kita tengok keadaan semasa pun, adakah benda tu dibuktikan? Kita tengok arwah Zulfarhan terkorban disebabkan jadi mangsa buli.
Tradisi
Ya,
pukul.
tradisi. So I think macam betul apa yang Amira cakap. Saya setuju yang macam one of the akar kepada masalah mental health ni ialah daripada masalah bully itu sendiri. So bully ni at the end of the day benda tu perlu untuk dibantras. The cycle has to stop. Kitaran pembulian yang macam, oh, aku buat ni sebab aku nak kau jadi someone yang berguna, someone yang kental, someone yang kuat. That thing has to stop. Sebab apa? Kalau even tanpa bully pun, tanpa ragging pun dan sebagainya, that particular someone boleh je untuk jadi someone yang strong. Cuma kita menggunakan benda-benda yang lain. Kita gunakan benda macam leadership, benda-benda macam kepimpinan dan sebagainya. But not by bullying, by doing ragging. So this kind of tradition has to really stop.
I'm going to hijack your answer and talk about Project High Council.
Yeah.
The reason why one of the main bullies the protagonist is because he himself is abused at home. So when he's given that power, suddenly he's addicted to it. He wants other people to suffer the same way. Yeah, and that's also why I advocate for children and abuse victims, because when they grow up, they become the bullies. They become the abusers. So that's why. That might be a factor.
Maybe to add something lah. This is just for, I am trying to get maybe view from Sofia and Amira. Ada juga orang yang cakap macam this kind of macam drama or movie yang trying to display the reality of bullying inside an institution. It is something that has to stop. Sebab apa? Kononnya benda tu akan menambah lagi kes bully. Tapi in my own personal perspective is that drama ataupun seni ni memang tujuan dia untuk kita memberikan kesedaran, untuk kita portray the reality of apa yang sedang berlaku ataupun benda-benda yang orang kurang bercakap. So macam Sofia dengan Amira sendiri macam mana? Korang rasa macam, is it like we have to really memperbanyakkan lagi benda-benda macam ni, drama-drama macam ni untuk tunjukkan the reality, ataupun kita kena kawal juga?
I think, okay, good question. You tanya benda itu pula. Okay. Tapi for me, dia kena, I think boleh banyakkan, tapi dia kena be moderate. Satu sebab bila you tunjukkan banyak violence, budak-budak kecil tu rasa macam, oh, nak ikut lah.
Faham.
Dia nak rasa diri dia hebat. Sebab kita ingat lagi dulu ada satu drama viral waktu I kecil. Budak-budak, okay, kawan-kawan I lah, budak-budak I sama umur, diorang nak jadi that main character.
Faham.
Tapi dia kena tunjuk, bila you nak tunjuk this movie ataupun drama ke apa ke, in the end dia kena tunjuk the impact if let's say the violence tu happen.
Faham.
Macam tu lah. Contohnya drama project apa, High Council.
Yeah.
I think benda tu, cerita tu macam a good tontonan, tapi dia kena ada good moral value jugalah. Kalau you, Sofia?
I think it fully depends on whether they romanticize the bullying.
Good words, romanticize.
Do the bullies get redemption? Do they get consequences? What happens, you know? It all depends on how they frame the bullying, whether they view the bully as someone admirable or someone who will get what's coming to them. I think that's where it starts.
I think, okay, kita dah di hujung pembicaraan kita ataupun diskusi kita berkenaan isu mental health dan isu bully yang selalu berlaku lah lagi di kalangan anak muda. I think before kita habiskan this discussion, what's your macam nasihat, especially untuk young generation or your kawan-kawan berkenaan mental health, especially untuk yang mencari pertolongan for themselves? Maybe Lokman?
Right, okay. So if I will have to give an advice lah, first of all, untuk orang yang sedang struggling ataupun sedang rasa macam, sebab I think sekarang ni serius agak kena sebab UPU result baru keluar kan.
Yes,
and
don't be
we see
sad.
a lot of people yang macam being rejected, and a close friend of mine pun being rejected, and she was really, dia memang kawan I tu, she memang down lah, dia memang sedih dengan apa yang berlaku. But one important message for everyone yang struggling with mental health ataupun apa-apa keputusan buruk yang berlaku dalam your life, first of all you have to really understand that you are not alone. Apa yang you rasa sekarang ni, bukan you kena rasa sorang-sorang. You boleh kongsi rasa you tu dengan orang lain untuk orang lain rasa juga, supaya at the end of the day you tak rasa diri you sorang-sorang. Second, at the end of the day you have to realise yang you kena hadapi juga benda tu, kekecewaan itu. Tapi again, you tak perlu untuk hadapi kekecewaan itu sorang-sorang. You perlu, macam mana, you boleh ajak orang lain, you boleh cerita dengan orang lain, and you boleh untuk go further bersama-sama dengan orang lain. And also the third one is that the reality is that sebesar mana pun apa struggle yang you sedang hadapi, you have to acknowledge that there is going to be a solution. At the end of the day, apa yang you sedang hadap sekarang ni is going to be repay by dengan benda-benda yang happy after that. But cuma day by day you have to take a step day by day. You tak boleh macam stay at that particular place and macam rasa macam akan ada miracle yang happen. You have to really step up untuk reach out dekat orang lain untuk sama-sama kita figure out solution. How do this thing can be solved? Yeah.
Sophia?
For those of you who are struggling, time heals all wounds, so you won't recognize yourself in a year's time. And for those of you who just got rejected from your UPU choices, just know that rejection is always redirection. Always remember that, seriously. I know it sounds cliche, but I'm being so serious. Rejection is always redirection. And for those of you who are bullying people,
You're not good.
get ready. You're
cool.
not nice. Get ready to put your money where your mouth is, you know? You'll get what's coming to you.
Yes. Okay, thank you untuk Sofia dan Lokman buat your perkongsian berkenaan isu mental health and bully. So, before kita tutup ataupun wrap this session, I hope that everyone yang struggle with your mental health, please reach someone that you trust. Or maybe, dah tiba masanya untuk you heal yourself by going back to nature. And in the end, are you okay? Okay, I think that's all for today. Wrap up. And don't forget to share, subscribe and comment about this episode. Okay? That's all. And thank you and bye-bye.
Bye.